Welcome to the HawkCast with your host, AJ Hawk.
Zack Martin joins us right now. Zack, appreciate you coming on, man. I think you're my second offensive lineman. The great Josh Sitton, another Pro Bowl guard, was on here a couple months back, man. So thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you're a member of the Dallas Cowboys, three-time Pro Bowler already in your 3 short years in the NFL. Probably, actually, I've said it multiple times on here when I was even playing. I think you guys, the Cowboys O-line is far and away was the best O-line that I played against in a long, long time, man. I think I played against you probably in 14, 15, I don't know, a couple years, and you guys were you're mauling everybody.
Yeah, we got a great group. You know, they put a lot of obviously high picks into our group, and lucky because we're on a team that loves to run the football. So as offensive linemen, we love doing that and really take some pressure off our passing game. So it's really a great situation.
What's one thing? So as offensive linemen, I know I have so many buddies that played, and they used to get annoyed with certain running backs. Like, what's one thing that a running back will do that just O-linemen cannot stand as a group?
Yeah, I think maybe just like dancing around the hole because, the defensive guys are so good. You're trying to get them moving and running, and it's really a one-cut system that we run. So when they put their foot in the ground, they're going to take off. So anytime you dance around, it's not good for any of us.
But on the other side, what about a guy that has no vision and just runs right up your back?
Yeah, that's true. And we've got, we run a lot of outside zone. So our whole scheme is tied together. The back's got a certain landmark where he's cutting up, and we have our landmarks where we're going to need to take guys. So like I said before, we have a great system, and it really fits well with who we have.
Now, who's your O-line coach?
A guy named Frank Pollock. He's been here for before I got here, so I think this is going into his 5th season.
Okay. Now, you go down the line. For people that aren't football fans that listen, which I talk to all different kind of people on here, so there's some people that aren't really football fans that listen. You guys, you have studs everywhere you look on the offensive line. What's the continuity been there? Like, has it been a similar starting group since you showed up?
This will be the first year. It's really not. We drafted Tyron Smith. I think he's going into year 7. And then, so he's an absolute monster. And then Travis Frederick was the year before me. And then we had Ron Leary, who just signed a big deal out in Denver. So we lost him. And then Doug Free obviously played a long time in this league, just retired after 10 seasons. So we're going to be going into this season with 2 new starters. So it's going to be a little different.
Is that already solidified here? We're recording in May. Are you working through that?
Yeah, we've got some guys that are competing. We've got a lot of depth this year, which is great. In the years past, we've had kind of our starters, but we've got some great depth, and should be some really good competition during training camp.
Can you actually see what an O-lineman can do before you put the pads on, like in the spring?
You can see him move, but sometimes that is not always indicative of how they play. So it really takes time, and like you said, when you get the pads on during training camp, things start to work themselves out.
Now, what's it like playing with Tyron Smith? That dude, I've said multiple times, like maybe the scariest, most talented dude I've ever played against.
Yeah, that's what we always joke. We say, if God had to make a left tackle, he would literally make him like Tyron Smith. Just massive, long. He's 320. He's got a 6-pack, so it's just not fair.
Yeah, when he signed a monster deal. However, I don't know 3 years ago, maybe.
That's 3 years ago.
He signed it, and people were like, oh, man, what are they doing paying this O-lineman? And I was like, oh, yeah, they paid him? Yeah, trust me, he's worth every penny they gave him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's super durable and just kind of erases that defensive end from other teams every game.
He's like a rare mix of a stud pass blocker, but then he's just an absolute devastating run blocker.
Yeah, if you see him in the weight room, just incredibly strong. So when he gets his hands on you, it's pretty much over. He's a fun guy to watch, and the best thing about Tyron is he works like no other. He puts in the time, and he deserves everything he's gotten.
Yeah, he put me in a washing machine. It was the only way I could describe it one time when you guys were running outside zone. And I tried to butt him up, and like my legs, I can't even say I tripped. He just got me, and I couldn't get out of it, man. It was like being stuck in a washing machine. Boom, and he just rolling over top me. I was like, all right, cool, man. Respect to you. He could have killed me even worse. But so I love watching you guys play. So Witten, or I mean, not Witten. Obviously, Jason Witten's been there forever. I saw him at the Derby, so yeah, he was on my mind. But with Jason Garrett as the head coach there, what's the culture like compared to, like, just say since this is your only team you have played for in the NFL? What's the culture in the Dallas compared to what it was when you played at Notre Dame?
Yeah, well, I think that was my biggest surprise. Is I've always heard, coming into the pros, it's obviously a different locker room, and it is in the fact that people have families, and you're not with the guys as much, at the facility, obviously, but we got a really, really tight group. He makes sure to bring in guys that fit well with the kind of the leaders and the veterans of the group. So, he's huge on that, and it showed the last couple of years that the guys he's drafted and brought in.
Now, what about Big Jerry Jones? How involved is he day to day?
Yeah, we see him pretty much every day. He comes, he'll come to practice and come in, and we see him quite a bit. Obviously, he's handling all the big time stuff, but he's really hands on and really takes care of us.
Will he come? Does he come to every practice?
No, he won't come to every practice. He'll come to the facility. So sometimes he'll come up like right after practice. So we just moved to a new facility, so he's got he flies his helicopter in every day. So he'll sometimes land it like right after practice or a little bit before.
That's awesome. So you guys just moved in this off season?
Right when we got back from training camp. We do training camp in California. When we got back, we moved in. So at the beginning of last season was our first time in there.
So that place I know is a huge upgrade to what you had. Is there like a stadium where they're going to play high school games there? Yeah,
we do. Our indoor, where we practice indoor there's about a 15,000 seats in there, and they have Friday, Saturday nights, they got high school games, and they pack it. It's pretty cool.
So will you guys still go to California for training camp?
Yeah, we are this year. I'm not sure, what we're going to do in the future, but this year we're going out for, I think, 3 weeks.
Wow. So you guys could be sitting in meetings and you can just hear the chopper coming in, Jerry's coming.
Just drops it right there, right next to the field. So, we're pretty far north Dallas now, so it'd be a pretty long drive.
Yeah, man, he has it figured out. He does, man. You guys. Yeah, it's a funny thing, man. The Cowboys you're your own like entity. I think everyone always wonders, like, at least as a fan of football, you wonder, like, you watch all the success the Patriots have, and you always think, man, what would it be like to play for the Patriots? What would it be like to play for the Cowboys? Those are two of the teams. I think the Packers even. I was lucky enough to play there for a long time, so I know the culture there. Like, from talking to buddies that have played around the league, does it feel like when you compare just day to day and the culture, does it seem Dallas is different? Like very different than a lot of other spots?
Yeah, just talking, like you said before, this is the only place I play, but just talking to buddies around the league, it's, there's a ton of attention on the Cowboys, and that kind of comes with the tradition down here and how crazy they are about football. So, but I'm sure it's similar to Green Bay, up there. They believe football. So, the light's always on, but, it's great. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a lot like I kind of had in college at Notre Dame. It's similar in that way.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone pays attention. Yeah, that is very similar transition, I guess. Definitely probably different. No, it's probably actually really similar because Notre Dame is like people are all in or they're all out for Notre Dame, and it's probably the same way for the Cowboys.
It really is. They can't get enough of us when we're doing well, and there's some dark days when we're not doing so well.
Yeah, man. What do they call you, the Butcher?
Everyone always asks me that. I don't know. I don't remember ever being called that, but it must say that somewhere.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it multiple times. I wondered. I just figured it was like a thing.
No, I mean, it's not a thing that I know about. But I've had people always ask me that. I'm like, I have no idea.
Oh, you really have no. It's like the whole.
Well, I think it came like when I would play high school basketball. I didn't, I wasn't the best player, but I'd use all my fouls up, and I think sometime one of the away teams called me the Butcher one game or something.
Oh, I got you. You grew up like around Indianapolis?
Yeah, I grew up in Indy.
Were you a Peyton Manning Colts guy?
Yeah, so I was originally from Kansas City, but I moved to Indy in '98, the year they drafted Peyton. So, grew up huge Peyton fan, huge Colts fan.
Wow. What who I'm trying to think of. Like, there's always people talk about. There's always like one guy or a couple guys on a team that like they call him like who's that dude? Like who could you say on the Cowboys is like that dude that when they speak everybody listens?
I mean, hands down, Jason Witten. Like you said, he's been in the league for so long and has played at such a high level for so long. And I would tell people, my buddies, I was telling Tyler, I'm like, you just wouldn't believe this guy at practice. I mean, he's a 15-year vet, doesn't miss a rep, outworking everyone. He's just he's about as good as they get as leaders come.
Is he a pretty vocal guy, like day to day?
Yeah, no, definitely. He's what you just described. If he's talking, everyone's listening, and if the team kind of needs someone to look to, it's definitely him.
Yeah, man, you've gone through that. That's a weird. Only been in the league 3 years, and then this past season, you lived through the whole Romo, Dak Prescott transition. Everyone from the outside looks like it was handled so well from internally, and how Tony handled it. And now he's going to CBS and everything. And Dak seems like he always says the right things. Did you guys see that? Like, as soon as Tony went down and Dak stepped in, was there I don't know, like, not talk in the locker room or whatever, but obviously every single week that Dak played and you guys did better and better, people were thinking like, oh, when Tony's healthy, is he coming back? Was that something you guys gave much thought to?
A little bit. I mean, it's tough. Tony played, has played so long and has played so well for so long. And, to see him go down, it sucked. And have a young guy come in and just perform the way he did. It definitely got along as the season went on. I think people kind of realized, we're on this run. Let's see how it plays out, and then we'll go from there. And to those guys' credits, they handled it the right way. And happy for Tony that he's going to do that. But it was unfortunate how he went down.
So now, what happens if Tony's calling one of your games from the booth and you hear that he's criticizing the O-line play?
Yeah. We'll see. He's at CBS, so hopefully, I don't think he'll have too many of our games, but I think they said he may be doing our Thanksgiving game. So that's, we were laughing about maybe the production meeting with him and all those guys should be pretty good.
Oh yeah, man. Just look up at the booth and just give him, like, sarcastically flick him off during the game or something. That'd be perfect. Why not? Why not? I've gotten fined before for that, actually. So don't do it. They don't listen to your appeal. They don't cut it in half on that one. Trust me. If the camera catches you mentioned Tyler earlier. So your brother-in-law, Tyler Eifert, the tight end from Notre Dame. I had Tyler on here a while ago. When did you meet? So you married his sister. What was it like when you and his sister first started dating, I guess?
It was a little weird because me and Tyler came in together in 2009. We were freshmen. And then we lived together all the way through. So it was a little different. But his family has a lake house like an hour from Notre Dame, and that's kind of where we spent our summers. And we started dating, I think, right before our junior years. We've been dating a long time, so it's no problem now, but it definitely was a little weird early on.
Did you have to sneak early on? Did you guys you and your now wife?
Yeah, there's a little sneaking going on early on, but Tyler's not an idiot. I mean, Tyler knew what was going on.
If you could, any guy that could handle it would be Tyler. Like, gets a good goofy dude that.
Yeah.
Well, he'd probably be so. When he found out it was serious, it was probably like, I think it's that Friends episode when they found out Chandler was going to marry his sister.
Yeah. No, he was. That's what he said. He was like, I mean, I guess I'd rather have it you than someone else.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're. If he had to pick any of the teammates he's played with, I'm sure you're at the top of the list.
So it's good now. Now it's like we're with each other all the time, so it's pretty sweet.
Oh, no question. Tyler's a stud, man. Dude can absolute freak athlete. Hopefully he can get fully healthy.
Yeah. Yep.
When he is healthy, he's unreal. So that's a fun deal watching. Man, you guys. So you lived together all 4 years in Notre Dame?
We lived together sophomore, junior, senior, 3 years, and then he went. He left after 4. I stayed a 5th year. And came out one year after. So we lived together for 3 years.
Did you think about leaving after, I guess, your 4th year?
Yeah, a little bit, just because, that was the year we went to the national championship, and, the stock was pretty high, and, I thought about it, and then I got my, I sent my papers and whatever, got the evaluation back, and, felt like I could go higher. And so that was a big reason. And my little brother actually was coming off of his sophomore season and had a chance to play next year. And so my last year, he was our starting center, and I was, I played tackle, so we got to start on the same line together, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome, man! That's a parent's dream. I'm sure they loved it.
Yeah, I did. So that was a big reason too. But it was well worth it. I'm glad I stayed.
Now, what if you could go back? Like, what if right now you were going? Well, it's too late. But say you had to do it over again, and you've seen all these guys, like a couple of these studs, sit out their bowl game. What do you think of that? You think that's going to be a trend?
I think it's going to be a trend. I think unless you're playing, I've heard a lot of people talk and say unless you're playing for the Final Four national championship, I think guys are going to do it. I got to play with Jaylon Smith here, who we drafted in the Cowboys, and just an awesome guy, and he's going to get back on the field, which is great. But just those situations that are just so unfortunate, I think you're going to have more and more guys, sit out of the bowl games.
Yeah, so Jaylon Smith, he comes to mind whenever you think of that. These guys sitting out. I'm like, bro, just point to this dude right here. He was going to be a top 10 pick.
Right.
He dropped the second round?
Yeah, we picked him the second.
And it's not even about, like, I try to explain to people, it's not even about money. He has an insurance and he's going to get some money, whatever. It's not about that, man. It's like you stole, like, regardless, sure, he's going to get back on the field and hopefully have a long career. But no matter what, he's not going to ever be who he was before. That's not saying he can't be an absolute stud and a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But still, he nerve damage and a crazy knee injury that was kind of a fluke in the bowl game. So I point to him, and I know he's even said, like, he doesn't have any regrets.
Right.
Because he seems like a great guy and he's saying the right things. But, I mean, I just don't it's nuts to me when people try to – it's not even about money, man. You're taking away a couple years of football, his football life from that.
Yeah, no, and that's what I think of too. When you think of those guys, and the guy from Michigan this year, the same thing happened to him, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, these guys are, it's a decision that they got to make, and it's a huge life decision for their careers. So,
what do you think Brian Kelly would have said if you would try to sit out the bowl game?
I don't know. He wouldn't have been happy, that's for sure. But that was not even a thought on my mind. And like you said, this is something that's kind of new. But since it's happened the last couple of years, I think it'll keep happening.
So being an Indy kid, was it like Notre Dame or bust? That was it?
No, actually, it wasn't. I was going to go to Michigan. I was set on going to Michigan, and Lloyd Carr recruited me, and then right before my senior year, he retired. And Rich Rodriguez came in, and I visited up there, and I just, I was a big fan of Lloyd Carr and had done some camps up there. And so then I visited Notre Dame one last time and ended up committing that next week.
Wow. So if Lloyd Carr would have stayed, you'd have most likely ended up at Michigan?
Yeah, I probably would have been in Michigan.
That's a good thing you didn't go to Michigan, man. I know guys that transferred from Michigan once Rich Rod came in, man. He ran those dudes into the ground.
Yeah, I know. And I don't really know him all that well, but just from the recruiting standpoint, I just felt like that probably wasn't the place for me.
So you could tell earlier. How many official visits did you take?
I committed like right before my senior year, so I only took one official. I took all my visits like in the summer going into my senior year.
Okay, what's the feeling like when you went back after when Rich Rod was the head coach? How did it feel different from when Lloyd Carr was there?
I don't know. I was like a big fan of that kind of pro style offense. I played for Coach Weiss for a year at Notre Dame, so
I didn't realize that. I loved Charlie Weiss. Man, I was just with Castle and and then some Patriots guys too, and that's all they did was tell the stories about Charlie.
Yeah, we had Castle down here last year. The whole year was in Dallas. He's a great guy.
You're right. Castle is the most underrated, like, funny dude out there.
Yeah, he is. He's hilarious. But I kind of like that whole aspect. I kind of wanted to go to a pro-style offense and do that whole thing. And obviously both schools are great. But when Rich Rod took over and then, so I went to Notre Dame. And then, of course, Kelly came in. It's kind of more of that spread football. But, it ended up working out for me.
It did, and I still don't understand that. Why can't Notre Dame mow their grass, man? Why is it like my high school field?
Well, it's turf now. They changed it out last year.
Oh, so last season they played on turf?
Last season, the first year they played on turf.
But they went didn't they go 4-8?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
That's why, because they didn't have it slows the other team down. The old thing. I'm like, yeah, it slows us down too, bud.
Yeah, I always tell people, they're like, God, this field sucks. I was like, you have no idea. Like, we played in our backyard for games in college.
That was like my high school field. Now they have turf too after I left, but it was sometimes they would try to have it too long. I'm like, what are we doing? They're like, no, it's good. We're going to slow the other team down. I'm like, no, we're going to slow us down too. we don't. And then people try to say, "Well, you guys practice on this." No, we don't. We practice on that dirt practice field down here.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
I would get so it would annoy me when I watched Notre Dame games. I'm like, man, can just cut the grass. I have a big 60-inch John Deere at my house. Let me come over there and just take about another inch and a half off that.
No, you're not the first to tell me that. A bunch of people that whenever they bring up Notre Dame and they play, they're like that the grass was terrible. I know.
How was your? You only took one official visit, but is an official visit to Notre Dame different than, say, like Michigan State?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know from experience, but I would say probably, Notre Dame it's a small school, real small. A lot of people live on campus there, so they basically want you to live on campus for 3 years. So I'm sure at the state schools, you got guys off campus, and it's just way different feel because there's so many people there. So I'm sure it's a little different, and I kind of wish I would have taken a few more official visits. Not to say I wouldn't have gone to Notre Dame, but just kind of experience that. Because I heard, from buddies that it's a great time.
Yeah, and that was a little. I think now it's like every year that goes by, they like cinch down on what you can do on official visits, where they're just taking all the fun away from these kids.
Right, exactly. Where they take, you don't get the money anymore, to get them stuff, or not get them stuff, but to take them out to dinner and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of dinner.
Yeah.
A lot of dinners happening. Yeah, the official visits are funny. I only took one as well to Ohio State, and I mean, when I was in high school, I was such just a meathead, whatever. I committed right before my senior year, and I took my visit right after my season, my senior year, and it was with a bunch of the guys in my recruiting class. But it was like a special deal. I think I had over 20 guys on scholarship in my recruiting class, and a lot of us took the visit the same weekend, and it was nuts, man. I mean, it was awesome. You're out like an independent dude. You go from you're living with your parents, and all of a sudden you go to this school, and you're like, man, there's no rules. No one's here to tuck me in. No one's here to make sure I go to bed. Like, it's an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, that was the cool part about my official visit to Notre Dame. We did the same thing. We did it. We had probably 15 guys that were committed already that all took it on the same weekend. So we kind of got to meet everyone and do that whole thing.
What is it? Is it what's one of the bars? Finnegan's? Finnegan's?
Yeah, Finney's, yeah.
Finney's. I've been to Finney's, man.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the spring game there years ago.
Okay, yeah. Finney's and CJ's and
I made the whole Notre Dame round where people were all of a sudden. My brother-in-law went there, so all of a sudden their bottles are being pulled out from behind the bar and passed around in the bar. Like, I'm like, this is amazing. And I was actually it was right after my rookie season. No, I was going into my rookie season, so I wasn't even in college really anymore. So you can have fun. Notre Dame, that's the thing.
Oh, no, you can have a blast there.
Yeah. How many undergrad? Do you know how many people are enrolled?
I think undergrad is around 8 right now. Damn. I think, and then grad, I think total is like 11, 12.
That's tiny. It feels tiny to me.
Yeah. No, especially, I mean, I'm sure Ohio State's 50?
Yeah,
45, 50?
I think it's 45, 50 now.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, I talked to a lot of guys. I'm sure you had the same thing where I got to college, or even it's usually actually once you get to the league, and they ask, "Oh, where'd you take your visits?" I'm like, I just took Ohio State. And like, man, you're such an idiot.
Yeah.
How did you not take? Like, I had multiple buddies that took all 5 of them, and they fully knew where they were going.
Right. No, I hear the same thing. Guys that could have committed, today, and they take their 5 visits just to enjoy it, which is not a bad way to go.
Do you still stay in contact with Brian Kelly?
Yeah, I go up to. I'm really close with my line coach there in college, so I go up. I go up for spring ball every year, and I stay a weekend and just kind of visit with him and watch. And then I go. They have a lineman camp they do every summer, so I go up there and help run it. So I'm up there a couple times a year.
I know it's way down the road. Do you think you ever would become a coach?
I don't think so. I've thought about it, and then it's like, I don't know, just seeing how much time these guys put into it, and how much time, like little time they get at home, and it's a rough job, but you got to be all in. So I'm not sure.
Do you ever give thought to like what I don't know, like how many years you would want to play in the NFL?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I'd like to play at least 10 years.
There's always that mark for something. I had the same, like, I never tried to, like, whenever you ask anybody, like, oh, I just want to get to 10, then I'm good. For whatever reason, there's like that nice round number. And I even, when I did get to 10, it was something where you're like, okay, like I guess you can relax a little, not relax on how you approach the game, but it just felt like, okay,
Right.
wow, I actually made it here. I never thought I would.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, right now I'd like to play as long as I can. So, however long that is, I'll keep going.
Yeah, man. How's your head feel? Do you have any concussion history?
No, I don't. I've been lucky there. Haven't had any concussions.
You're born just a straight Neanderthal with a hard head, man.
There you go.
I'm with you. I like it. I'm the same thing, man. The thick skull.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just recently, today or yesterday, old Giselle got Tom Brady and the Patriots maybe in some hot water. She said something about how he had a concussion last year and he's had him in the past, yet Tom's never been listed on the injury report. I don't know why. I'm sure she doesn't know the intricacies of how that works and how you you can get some trainers in trouble. But I guess now all Tom has to do is say, "No, I just told her I got dinged." Like he could say, "I didn't really have a concussion. I was just talking. I never told the team anything."
Right. Yeah. No. That's you gotta, because you have to report anything you have, right?
Yeah.
So that could not be good. But
like if he kept it to himself, then I don't think they can't do anything to him. But you never know with how the NFL's been going after him.
Right.
But if he mentioned anything to any trainers, that's where she could have gotten the Patriots in some trouble.
Yeah, no, it's a big. I mean, I know we had a couple of guys with concussions this year, and the protocol is. I didn't realize we had a guy who, if you go in the locker room now, you can't come back in. So you can do if they think you have a concussion, they take you in the locker room to check you out. You can't come back in even if you pass the protocol. So you have to stay on the field to do like the testing. Because if you go in the locker room, you're screwed.
Wow, so that's just going to have some guys just fist fighting the trainers. The trainers trying to take them into the locker room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. There's something. Don't you think? I don't know if you've given much thought to it. I know I did. I guess as I got older, but no matter what, no matter how many guys you have on the sideline, how many people are up in the booth, independent doctors, don't you think there's still a huge part on the individual to report if you have something? With your head, only with your head, really.
Yeah, I think. In college, a couple of times I can remember guys who get dinged up and they were afraid because they didn't want to leave the game. So it's really up to the player, to report all that because, you play with all these guys. NFL players are extremely prideful guys. So, they don't want to come out of the game. And but it is up to the player to let the guys know if it's bad.
Yeah, the league is doing what they can, no question. They're putting the right people in place. But ultimately, yeah, it's up to the guy. And you can just think of multiple people to where not only do you not want to come out, you want to play, you're a competitor. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, look at Alex Smith. He lost his gig in San Fran to Colin Kaepernick. They went to the Super Bowl, and he's out of a job.
Right, yeah.
From a concussion.
Right, same thing. And, that's like any injury. But, like you said, no one wants to leave the game because everyone's fighting for a spot out there.
Yeah, man. When you got drafted, you were drafted in 2014, correct?
Yep, 2014.
Now, what was the chatter that they were going to take Johnny Football at your spot?
The chatter here in Dallas.
Is that real? I mean, were they really thinking about it?
Yeah, no. From what I hear, it was very real, and I had no idea. I had never met with the Cowboys. I came down like a little bit before the draft and did a pre-draft visit, but before that, I had not met with them at all, and so I really had no idea I was going there because they'd just taken an offensive lineman in the first round the year before, and then Tyron like 2 years before that. So. That really wasn't on my radar. And then obviously the Manziel stuff. And from what I understand, they were very close to putting that card in. But, extremely thankful that they didn't.
Dodged a bullet on that one, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word was that Jerry's son stepped in, supposedly. That's the rumor, and stopped him.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no. That adds, that's even, well, not only does it, I guess it makes the Cowboys, it makes you even more of like a fan favorite because when people know that story, and I'm sure the Dallas people do, like, wow, we were going to get Johnny Football who was in the league a year and a half and in rehab, and now we got a perennial Pro Bowler who's going to be here forever, hopefully.
Yeah, I got that first year especially. I got a bunch of we could have had Manziel, but it's kind of slow. That's kind of slowed down a little bit, which is good.
People don't know who. That's the thing with O linemen though. Like people don't know who good O linemen are. They really don't.
Right. No, they don't. I mean, especially because people get so jacked up over the quarterbacks and receivers and those type of guys, which, rightfully so, but guys don't really watch tape or do their studies on O linemen until they get in the league and start playing well.
That's why for O linemen, for you guys, it's weird. how I don't know if you're considered like a stud or you're considered. I mean, if you play at a poor level for a while, people definitely can tell as an O lineman it's glaring eventually. But
Yeah.
it's hard to definitely separate. I think like middle of the pack guys from studs like you, just for the casual fan, because they're not watching O lineman really. They're all they know is what basically the TV commenters will say about them when they do bring your name up.
Right, and it's tough. We always joke about because a defensive lineman can get his ass whooped the entire game and have one sack, and then an O lineman can play great and then give up a sack, and everyone thinks they play horrible, and they think the D lineman played great. So it just kind of comes with the position, but it is funny to see what people have to say and think about what we do.
Yeah, I don't know how people evaluate if there's like websites or different. I do a lot of stuff on SiriusXM, and people want to talk about different O linemen, and I'll be like, hey, I'm like, how do you know anything about the starting guard for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, you don't know if that dude's good or not. Like, are you literally watching the coach's tape and zeroing in on this one guy? There's no way.
Right. And consistent tape, not just one or two plays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they can show replays of Jaylon Smith pulling and knocking them straight to hell and running over them like every single play. That happens a lot with that big monster, man. I bet for some reason I'd love it if someone went back and checked all the different episodes I've mentioned him with so many different, any football guy I have. I'm like, man, have you ever seen that left tackle for Dallas? He always comes up. Yeah, so you said they drafted Smith, and then what, the year before you was Fredericks?
Yeah, Frederick was the year before me, and Tyron, I think, was Tyron was 2011. Travis was 13. I was 14.
Travis Frederick, right?
Yeah, Travis Frederick.
Yep. Sorry, Trav. I know who you are. Yeah. I hate when people mess up names. Frederick. And then you came in after. So how do they keep you guys around? I know you're in like they pick up your 5th-year option. I don't even completely understand with the new CBA, but you played 3 seasons, they pick up your 5th-year option, meaning that they have your rights for the next 2 seasons.
Yes. So like basically I think they put it in basically for if they pick a guy in the first round and they don't, he doesn't play particularly great and they don't want to keep him for a 5th year, because I think the old CBA was first round picks got 5-year deals. So this way, if you're playing well, they can pick up that 5th-year option and keep her for 5 years.
And then it buys them some time to hopefully negotiate a new contract.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where you guys are at now, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. So hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Who's your agent?
Tom Condon.
Oh yeah. Everyone knows Condon. looks the part, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's an old. People don't know. They know him just for he represents a lot of quarterbacks, but he played offensive line for the Chiefs for 13 years. So he knows a lot about offensive linemen.
Yeah, big cock diesel, good looking old dude, man. Nice hair, like he looks like an agent, like you would cast in a movie.
Oh my God! I mean, the guy works out. We were with him. He came to the Pro Bowl last year, and I saw him every morning, coming out of the weight room, just cut off, just jacked, sweating his ass off.
I love that, man. Yeah, I think I saw you said something about where you're going to let your agent handle your negotiations or whatever is happening. Like, how often do people ask you about that now? I don't know how often you're speaking to the local beat writers at this time of the year, but is it something that they talk about every day?
Yeah, whenever I do, because Tyron and Travis they got their deals done after they're going into their 4th season, so everyone wants to talk about it, and hopefully it comes, but it's really out of my control, so I'll let them do that and just kind of keep doing what I've been doing.
And who just signed in Denver, you said, from the O-line?
Ron Leary.
So he went and signed a nice deal there.
Yeah, real big deal.
And Doug Free retired.
Doug Free just retired.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, how do you keep everybody in place? That's the tough thing, especially with an O-line like you guys that are all – it's such a cohesive unit. Like, how do you keep all of those guys in place? And I'm sure – I mean, right now you're the final piece of the original crew, I guess, that came in. But the one way you guys can do that, which is because you have Dak Prescott on a rookie deal. So there's some room, man. The Cowboys are in a beautiful spot. I'm sure Condon is – drilling them hard with that, saying, hey man, you guys have a nice little window here where you can shore up, pay some of your studs you need before you have to pay Dak Prescott $200 million.
Right. I mean, I think it's very similar to like what Seattle was doing a couple of years ago when they had Russell Wilson played really well that first year, and they had him cheap for 2 years until he hit the mega deal. But I think they're pretty excited about that.
It's even better for you now though, because Seattle, the reason they're struggling is because their O-line is struggling because they said like, oh, we'll figure it out. We can find guys for the O-line. Well, guess what? They didn't.
Right. No, it's definitely. I mean, it's one of the most the important positions there. You got to have a good O-line on offense to do anything. So we're lucky that the Cowboys put so much picks and money into it.
Good for you, man. You're in a great spot because you're playing at such a high level. So regardless, you're gonna get paid big money, and hopefully you want to be a lifetime Cowboy. So I'm sure they'll get it done.
Absolutely.
Tom Connor will get it done. He has so much. you and Tom have so much leverage right now. It's a beautiful thing you're sitting on. So good, enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Don't stress out over that process. That's something you don't. There's no reason for it. And you guys. So your rookie year, that was DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, that was DeMarco's last year when we. DeMarco had his big year.
Did he rush for 2,000?
No, it was he was close. I think it was like 17 or 18.
Okay, and he led the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, that was the catch year up in Green Bay.
Yeah, it was, man. All the years run together for me. The non-catch year. Yeah. Who knows? I still don't understand like what happened with that.
I don't either.
We're talking about, for people that don't know, that Dez Bryant in the playoffs caught. Like, I guess he would have been down on the 1 yard line probably.
Yeah, but I watch it. I'm like, God, I don't know. Like he some days I watch him like, oh, that's definitely a catch. Other days I watch him like, damn, I don't know if he got that.
What does Dez think? Does Dez think it was a catch?
Oh yeah, sure.
Of course, which he should. But yeah, man, that was such a confusing time too when it went on. I was like, we're watching on the jumbotron too, and I was like, I don't know, man. I have no idea what's happening. Actually, I think I thought that they were going to call it a catch. I'm like, all right, we better have a big goal line stand. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, no, it was nuts because it may have been fourth down. I think it was fourth down, and we went for a shot. But that was a fun game. We've had some good games in Lambeau. We played in Lambeau the last 3 years, so we've had some good ones up there.
Was that this? Did you guys go there this year? And did you guys get beat?
We beat them in Lambeau, and they beat us in the playoffs.
That's right.
Dallas.
Oh my God, that playoff game was amazing.
It was nuts.
That back and forth. So you guys got down. That was right. The playoff game. You guys got down early and then made this massive comeback.
Got down big, yeah.
And Mason Crosby hit that crazy game winner.
Yeah. Rodgers threw that rope about 60 yards to the sideline, got it in.
Yeah, you're right, man. And so then if you guys would have won that, you would have gone to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, we'd have played Atlanta. Yep.
Wow. How'd you feel about your chances against Atlanta?
I felt good. I mean, we were going to get them at home, so that would have been that would have been big. But it's always tough when you lose. I mean, when you lose those big games, and then to sit on the couch at home, because this year especially, I mean, 2014 we were good, and we thought we could make a run. But this past year, I think we really thought we had a chance to go all the way. So this year was definitely harder than years past.
So, like, that game was in Dallas, this playoff game that you lost after the field goal that Mason Crosby hit. Like, what are those first 5 minutes like when you get back in that locker room?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like I said, we had a ton of confidence, and we knew we were getting a good Green Bay team, but we'd beat them in Lambeau earlier that year, and kind of beat them pretty good. So we were feeling confident at home, and but it was definitely. It was dark time in that locker room after the game.
You guys, that is right. So when you guys went to Lambeau, you ran all over him. I know Zeke had a ton of yards and touchdown. Like, he had a big day.
Yeah, and that was kind of his coming out party. I think he had about 200, and that was his first. It was maybe like 6 or 7 games in. That was his first real big game of the year.
And then in the playoff game, didn't they kind of bottle him up?
Yeah, they did a nice job, and we just stalled out on defense early, and then Rodgers takes him down. We get down. I think we were down 17 or 21-0, like that. So it was, it's a tough spot to be in to get down like that to Rodgers in Green Bay.
What does the defense do? Can you explain to people? So say that you guys went to Lambeau, Zeke runs for almost 200, and then you get in the playoff game, and everyone before that game, I still remember, was saying, "Oh man, Zeke just torched him. He's going to run through. He might run for 400 this game." I'm like, it doesn't work like that, man.
No,
like, you gotta, like, what do defenses do from game to game like that can shut them down?
Yeah, I think they just, they'll bring different guys in the box, and I think a big thing too is, like, we went into Green Bay and they probably, I mean, not to say they weren't expecting it, but they probably didn't expect us for a run for 200. So they're coming to this game, and their sole purpose is to not let this guy go off and not let him beat him. So Defenses can do a lot of different stuff schematically, but I think at the end of the day, it's just their message was like, hey, we're not going to let this guy run for 200 yards and beat us.
Now, so if you can, I'm sure it's tough to pick like one or two things. Like, what does Zeke do so well that makes him so special in his rookie year?
Yeah. Well, I'd say he's patient, and also you don't know how big this guy is until you see him up close. I mean, he's like legit 235 pounds, and can run a 4.4. So I think when he gets to the second level, he just runs over these DBs, and so he's an incredible combination of that speed and size.
Now, you said patience, and I've always thought the guys that are the best have patience and vision as a running back.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to let it happen, and they're going to make that cut, and bam, they're going to let a guy run himself out of the play, and they're going to cut off whatever you guys are doing up front. Do you think vision and patience combination are two of the biggest things for a running back?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was saying earlier with our run game, he may see a hole that he knows he's coming to, but he's got to get to his landmark to make the defense run and overrun the play. So he knows he's got that patience to get there, put his foot in the ground, and hit that hole. So it's pretty incredible what he did his rookie year, and I know he's looking to do a little bit better this year.
So he knows how to set the defenders up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
How big is that for you guys? Or how I guess, appreciative are
huge.
you guys?
Well, it's huge because we got to try to chase you guys, those linebackers around, and when they overrun the play and we can just get a hand and push them by, that's just as good as covering them up and making the running back guess. So when he can put his foot in the ground and make you guys run by, it's pretty good.
Now, have they how have any rule changes come into effect that have changed O-line play in your 3 years?
I'd say the biggest is probably the cut block.
So can you not cut? How does it work now?
You can cut now, but you gotta get all the way across the defender. So like in years past, like I think a good example, if you ever watch like Seattle play, those guys are cutting the entire game, and you could basically just throw at the guy's legs and roll into them. Now you got to go across their body. You can't do it if you throw at a guy's leg and start rolling. That they can throw a flag on that.
Was that did that go into effect last season?
It's been the last couple of years. I don't know if it was last season or the year before, but I'd say that's the biggest rule change for us.
Have they called it much?
I mean, there's some if it's like a real obvious one, but you still watch tape and see guys, not getting all the way across. I mean, I think it's a hard thing to call because the guys are, there's so many things to watch for. They're not always seeing it.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to protect the defensive guys somehow.
Right.
I mean, that's always brutal. It's tough because you guys can fly, and if you get your hands on the guy at the second level, I mean, it's almost over for the linebacker or whoever it is. I mean, let alone if you're on a safety or something. But when you guys can dive from 7 yards behind us and roll, those are not only the frustrating, but God, I'm like, damn, how is this legal, man? I didn't even see this dude. He rolled me up.
Yeah, no, I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to protect the defender's legs a little bit because I think there's been some bad injuries.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's football, man. People are gonna get hurt. Whatever. That's the name of the game, I guess. But I wanted to figure out a little bit like how. So the Cowboys look so smart. I mean, what a great draft for these guys. Are you kidding me? This past year, you get what?
Yep.
Was Dak Prescott a 4th round pick?
He was a 4th rounder. Yeah.
Do you know? Is there any reason like why was he a 4th rounder and not 1st round?
I don't know. I mean, I always laugh and. I think the Cowboys are as good as it gets picking guys, but I say what people say about Brady. If we would have known he would have been this good, there's no way we would have waited to the 4th round to take him. If the Patriots knew Brady was going to be that good, they would have taken him with the number 1 overall pick. So I think we got a little lucky, but I mean, what an awesome dude, and great player, but just an awesome teammate.
What was it like the first game he stepped in as the starter? So Tony got hurt in the preseason game, right?
Yeah, so Dak started. Tony didn't play in the first 2 preseason games at all. So we got to play with Dak a little bit. The starters got to play with Dak in the first 2 preseason games, which was nice because when he did come in, it wasn't like the first time. And then we played Seattle the 3rd preseason game, and Tony started that and went down. And then Dak came in, and I mean, people always say the story, but when he came in Seattle, when Tony went down, it was like 3rd and 8. It's a preseason game, but Seattle's still, 3rd preseason game. Seattle's still getting pretty loud, and and he stepped in cold off the bench and threw a strike for a first down and let us down for a score. So I think guys were pretty confident in what he could do, and then he just got better and better and better throughout the season.
What was so say that the first regular season game when he comes in to start, what was he like in the huddle?
Man, you wouldn't think he was a rookie. I mean, he's extremely poised and takes command of the huddle. I mean, he's got a ton of I always tell people he's got a ton of confidence, but he's not cocky. He kind of has that commanding personality that when he steps in, guys are locked in on what he's saying. So we played the New York the first game of the year. We got beat. He played well. I think people were a little down though. I think in 15 we went 4-12. So I think people were probably thinking, oh, here we go again. And then he rattled I think 11 or 12 straight and played awesome.
He did. What was it like being on that team to where I don't know. I don't think no one like wrote you guys off when Tony got hurt. They knew how well Dak had played in the preseason, but they thought like, oh, when's this luck so-called gonna give out? Like, what was it like watching, like being a part of that, like the swell of momentum you guys gained over each game? Yeah,
it was. I mean, we had, our defense was playing great. Our defense gets no love; they get overlooked, but they were playing great. We're a huge running team, so obviously, that helped out because we were running the football very well, and we could do some play action and kind of take a little pressure off of Dak. So, that was huge for us. And then the biggest thing was those young guys, when they start playing well, we start winning, their confidence just keeps building and building. And, it took us throughout the season.
How do you guys not because of any like conscious thing you guys do, but how do you guys not take a little step back? Because the year was like, you guys had like a magical year with Zack, Zeke, my bad, I can't speak English. Zeke and Dak. I will continue to mess that up, I'm sure. Zeke and Dak playing. So basically, both of them competing for the MVP of the league, not just Rookie of the Year honors. Like,
right.
They were legit both MVP candidates. Like, is that something you guys have talked about since you've been back for the offseason? Like, how do we not only match that but exceed any expectation we have?
Yeah, I think that's been a huge thing this offseason. We've kind of been talking, what's that one extra thing we can do across the board? And I can tell you, not to say that anyone was surprised, but no one's going to be surprised by those two guys or our offense this year. So we're going to have to be better than we were last year and do some more things. But like you said, we got some studs across our entire offense. So we're really looking forward to getting going.
Yeah, you do, and that's what I watch all the games as a fan, but it's going to be at some point. There's going to be, I hope, like Zeke doesn't get like frustrated when teams do try to teams will put 10 dudes in the box. All right, hey, beat us, Dak, you got it, beat us, and Dak will, but it's going to be frustrating at times because he's legit just such a superstar now.
Right. No, exactly. And I think, like you said, he's probably expecting to get 200 yards a game, but there's going to be games where teams are going to say, hey, that's not going to happen. So, but the good thing I think our offense is we can win in a lot of different ways, and so we're ready for anything, and I know those guys are too.
What's Garrett like as a head coach? Like, are you guys' practices pretty physical?
Yeah, our practices are real physical. Just from talking to like buddies around the league, our practices are extremely physical. We go pads. We use all of our padded practices up. We're in pads every Wednesday. We're doing 9-on-7 every Wednesday. We're doing 1-on-1s every Wednesday. So those Wednesday full padded practices are pretty tough.
I feel terrible for your D linemen and linebackers.
And I was talking to Tyler, and he was like, "You guys do 9-on-7 on Wednesdays?" I was like, "Yeah, every single Wednesday."
Yeah, that was how Green Bay was forever. Yeah, we definitely would wear pads as much as you can, and definitely bang. We do 9-on-7 like half line run, all this stuff. But going against your guys' O line too, and that's your bread and butter of your run game. Whew, that'd be rough, bro.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm happy. That's some concussions everywhere you look on that defensive side of the ball. You're lucky you guys have a hard head. That's another pick. Like we mentioned Jaylon Smith earlier. I thought that was another great pickup by the Cowboys. I was actually doing some work for NFL Network during the draft, and I saw that. And I'm like, man, I hope the nerve regenerates, whatever, everything comes back. I was like, what a great value pick he's going to be.
Oh, absolutely. Because if he when he's back on the field, it's going to be like another first round pick for us. And so you had those two guys, Jaylon. Our third round pick last year, halfway through the season, he's our starting 3 tech by the end of the year. So they really hit the jackpot last year.
Now, does Jerry Jones keep how many family members does he have there working in the front office?
Yeah, so Steven, his son, is there. All of his kids work there.
Is Steven next in line once Jerry goes?
I would think so. Yeah, I think he's more personnel, and then Jerry Jr. I think is more. I believe he's the CFO, and then his daughter Charlotte handles like all the kind of PR and charity work and all that kind of stuff.
So it's a legit family deal. It's not leaving the Jones family anytime soon.
No, I couldn't imagine that. No.
How was your going back to your? I only have a couple more for you, but that new facility, I've just seen pictures of it. I remember seeing the renderings before they built it. I'm like, it makes sense that this is what you guys are building. Like, how is that compared to that to your old facility?
Yeah, so our old facility I think it was built in the 80s, and it was this huge, this giant ranch. So it's like a huge, big maze. Everyone, from the marketing to the finances, everyone worked in one building. And, now it's the nice part about what we have now is it's, obviously it's huge and you have all the bells and whistles, but we kind of have our section of the building, our corner of the building over there where we have our weight room, locker room, training tables, all right there. So we don't really see anyone else who works in the building all that much.
So you guys have you're secluded, even though it's this giant deal where there's high school games going on Friday and Saturdays. People can't get to you. You have your own little sanctuary.
You wouldn't believe how many security guards. I mean, I'm talking like 24/7. There's people walking inside and outside of this place. So our little section is pretty secluded.
Man, that's awesome. All right, Zach, I appreciate you coming on here, man. If you wanted people to find you, where would you send them? Like if you want to show wherever your social media and everything.
Yeah, I'm not a huge social media guy, but I do have them. My Twitter handle and is the Gob70, GOB70. It's an old high school nickname.
I love it.
And, so the Gob70.
I love it, man. Yeah, I knew you weren't huge on there. You're not pubbing your Snapchat all over the place.
No,
I figured I'd give you a chance. We'll put links to it and everything here. But you grew up in that era, man. So you're what, 26?
I'm 26. Yep.
So in high school,
high school was like when all this stuff started, like Facebook and I guess kind of into high school,
Twitter,
college.
Right?
Like Twitter and all that stuff started.
So you
had
Twitter
up.
Through college. See, I didn't have Twitter in college. There's Facebook and everything that people had.
Right.
Like, I didn't mess with it much. But was that something that the coaches had to address? Was it something you had to worry about? Like if you went out or anything, like people just live reporting where you are or where people are?
I mean, it wasn't horrible. Obviously, you have your basic, social media meetings of kind of just use your brain 101, but
don't post dick pics.
Right. But no, we really didn't have much of a problem with it.
Yeah, there's some teams are more like. So I was in Green Bay 9 years, in Cincy for a year, and I spent I got a season out of Atlanta last year. Snuck a vested year out, and had a great time. I loved it down there. But it's amazing going from team to team. I mean, I doubt you'll ever see it. You'll be a Cowboy for the next 19 years, but how they handle, I guess, how some teams are really lax on certain things that other places wouldn't. Like Green Bay is pretty conservative, like what you would think. And then you go to Cincinnati, and it was like, man, they're all, I love those guys. The teammates, they're so fun, but they're not scared to post anything, man. Like, they have no in their brain, like, what are you talking about? I don't care if anyone says anything to me.
Yeah, I think we do a pretty good job. I'd say we're pretty conservative.
Yeah, it seems that. I mean, Dallas, that's what's funny. You guys are like that, but then your owner is like the least conservative owner in the league.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to, like you were saying earlier, like for the players, like there's so many like reporters just waiting for us to do something. So if you tweet something or do something, they're all over it. So I think we do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys kind of self-police especially with old vets like Witten in the locker room. Witten probably, I can't imagine it. Like the TV references and the movie references he's doing that nobody's ever like, bro, I wasn't born when that came out.
Oh, that's pretty
That
good.
happened to me a few times. All right, Zach, really appreciate it, man. Good luck this year. Everyone will be watching. Like you said, people are either – I think everyone is still like even people that claim they don't like the Cowboys, they still watch.
Right. Yeah. No, I think, we got a great fan base. So hopefully we can win some games and keep everyone happy.
Yeah, man. You guys are international. Jerry did a great job. You guys are everywhere you look, you see dudes in Cowboys jerseys. So you're in a great spot, man. Hopefully they extend you. I'm sure Condon's killing them right now, and look to be watching you for a long time in Dallas, man. But thanks again.
I appreciate it, AJ. Thank you.
We're glad you could join us for today's conversation. After you subscribe to the show, head over to thehawkcast.com or reach out to AJ directly on Twitter at @officialAJHawk to recommend future guests that will help us inspire people to keep talking. Thanks again, and we look forward to speaking with you next time on the HawkCast.